Spurs at the Mavericks. The Mavericks are laying 7.5. The total here is at 229.5. So Western Conference champions, Dallas Mavericks back in action tonight. Luka, Kyrie, new addition Thompson. Notice how I say Western champ. Couldn't seal the deal, of course. Wemby now in his sophomore season, second year for Slender Man. Projections are so high. Some on this show feel too high, mainly me. But 7.5, 8 is a pretty fat number. Shark, you gonna lay it or you gonna take it?
Taking the points here tonight, you said Slender Man. Slender Man said, "Hey, I got 25 more pounds put on in the off season here." And truthfully, I think that's a snapshot to the upward movement expected for the Spurs this year. 22-60 straight up last year, but situationally very efficient late season, very competitive, significantly improved, and of course, incredibly well coached with the legend Greg Popovich. And I think some offseason acquisitions for the Spurs really going to help them. Harrison Barnes, year 10, year 11, ex-champ with the Warriors, very representative Western Conference player for the Kings most recently, will bring a championship mentality to this team and veteran leadership. And speaking of veteran leadership, how much better can it get than 39-year-old Chris Paul? Hate him or love him, he's the type of guy you want to have on your side. He's a player coach. He knows the refs. He knows the ins and outs. This team will improve in their competitive quality because of Chris Paul. And you mentioned it. Klay Thompson to the Mavs. A lot of moving parts. The Mavs already pretty notorious with Jason Kidd and Luka Doncic for coasting early season games as a heavy favorite. I think Klay is disruptive early season. He didn't look great last year with the Warriors. He is past his prime. I think this will go south before it goes north. And speaking of going north, this is very similar to the Detroit handicap yesterday. Last year in this division, Dallas dominated. 4-0 straight up, 3-1 ATS, 2 home blowouts by over 25 points per game. And now the line coming down to 8.5, suggesting a tight game. I have Dallas to win this game at most by 6 points. Both teams opening up tonight. It will be 6:30 Central Time. Remember that as well. Will hurt the home team. Take the Spurs at plus 8.5, and let's cash this one.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree. I mean, 8 is a pretty fat number. I would have to take it. And it also goes with my under 229.5. Mavericks did add Klay Thompson. It's hard to say it was really an upgrade, right? May take a minute for him to get acclimated, Mavs to gel. As Junior Brown would say, what does he say? Continuity. You know what I mean? Spurs did add Chris Paul, but really right now it just looks like they're 4 dudes plus Wembanyama. One of those 4 dudes, Devin Vassell, he's not going to be playing tonight. They did lose a key member of that tribe last year. I don't know how that's going to affect them. I do like the addition of Chris Paul, only because when you get Chris Paul with a very young player, a guy who can control the court, control the game flow, offensively or defensively, we all understand that Chris Paul is a mere shell of himself, right? But that's not really, but that basketball knowledge, that mind is what you bring a veteran in like that for. So they sit there, help and groom Wembanyama when you're already dealing with probably the smartest basketball mind in NBA history in Pop. So I don't disagree. I just don't believe Wembanyama is that guy. You know, I saw at multiple times during the course of the season last year in what was supposedly a historic rookie season. I saw him disappear on the court way too much, way too often. I've seen the Spurs start fast and then just fizzle down the stretch. And a lot of that had to do with Wemby's play. I mean, look, I do concur tonight. I think 8 is too big. So maybe this is a letdown spot for the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, you're just coming off the NBA Finals. You have new pieces to acclimate to the system. I don't know how everybody's going to gel. It's not easy fucking playing with Luka, man. It's not easy playing with Luka. So Shark is on the Spurs. He's catching 8 tonight. I did open up the line at 7.5, but it is actually 8 right now currently. And the total's at 229.5. I am on the under, and as you guys know, it's always correlated. When you take the dog, you take the under, right?